Hello, today we're going to do Module 6, Lesson 9. Our objective is that we're going to analyze data to problem solve. Now, this is our last lesson before our end of module assessment. So, we're about ready to move on to something else. Note that there is a template needed for this. This is where you're going to find your graphs. It's stapled to your homework page. We're going to start with our application problem. Marla creates a line plot with a half-inch scale from 33 to 37 inches. How many tick marks will there be on her timeline? Okay, so what's the smallest number? The smallest number is 33. The largest number is 37. And you have to do it in half-inch intervals or half-inch spaces. So if that's the case, then if I mark off my single units, for instance, this would be 34, 35, it looks like an S, 36, and 37. Then I have to mark off my halves. So this would be 33 and a half. This would be 34 and a half. This would be 35 and a half. This would be 36 and a half. Now that's how many tick marks will be on her timeline. So how many tick marks did we make? Well, let's count them. This is called a tick mark. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There will be 9 tick marks. Let's write that down. 9 tick marks on Marla's apostrophe S because she owns it timeline. Period. Okay, we've got a good answer. We've shown our work. Move on. Okay, this is one of the graphs that you have on your template, but I have to fill mine in. So as I fill it in, let's look at this. First, I'm going to look at my scale. This is money spent at the fair, and this over here is my money spent. Down here is my activities. So I'm looking at my scale. It starts with $0. Oh, I gotta get a skinnier pencil. Okay, $0. This one is $10. This one is $20. So as I'm doing this, how much is each space? How much is each interval? Each interval is worth how much? Well, between 0 and 10 is $10. Between $10 and $20 is a 10, so there's $10 each time. We're counting up by tens. 10, 20, 30, 40. Okay, now, this one was games. The activity that we had. This was food that they did at the fair. This is parking. I guess some friends just got together and had a good time at the fair and then graphed it. It's kind of fun. And then this is the rides. Okay, so now let's graph it. Games. How much was spent? $30. Whoops. So we make our line all the way up to the 30 line. Now you don't have to make this because yours is already made for you. Food was, it is halfway between 20 and 30. What number is halfway between 20 and 30? If there's 10 between each line, what's half of 10? It's 5. So they spent how much money on food? $25 on food. Okay, parking. How much did they spend? Oh, interesting. That one's halfway between 2. So how much did they spend on parking if it's halfway between 0 and 10? Well, what number is that? That's 5. So they spent $5 on parking. Okay, now rides. Halfway again. Okay, well, if it's halfway again, what does that tell us? That's a 5. So halfway between 30 and 40 would be 35. Okay, here's our graph. Now we're going to use this graph to solve this story problem. So the friends take a total of $120 to the fair. How much do they have left after their day at the fair? Well, let's add it up. Let's see how much they spent. So games, they spent $30. Food, they spent $25 because it's halfway. Parking was a halfway one too. Halfway between 0 and 10 is 5. Put on my dollar signs over here. Rides, halfway between 30 and 40, it's going to be $35 on rides. Okay, let's add it up. 5, 10, 15. Carry our 10, 10, 40, 60, 70, 80, 90. They spent $95. Okay, so if they spent $95, but they took $120, there's a difference. So let's find out what the difference is. So we'll have $120, and we're going to subtract $95 from it, because that's how much they spent. There we go. Okay, I'm going to have to regroup. 10 take away 5. That's 5. Regroup. 11 take away 9 is 2. Bring down our dollar sign. So how much do they have left after their day? They have $25 left. So now we need to write that down. The friends had $25 left after their day at the fair. Let me put a period. Good. Okay, let's do another problem. We'll clear this. Go to the next. Okay, this is also on your template, and this is not quite what you see, so I need to fill in the blanks. Okay, so first of all, this is a tick mark. Let's put our tick marks down. I read the title. This is Crayfish Lengths from Mr. Nye's class. So down here, this was a 2, 2 1/4, 2 1/2. This is 2 3/4. This is, 3. I'm going to do that one better. Try that again. 3. So I bet you this is 3 1/4, yes. Which means that this would be 3 1/2. Okay, and these are inches. And then it says that x equals 1 crayfish. So sometimes in science, kids get to measure and dissect crayfish. That's very exciting. So apparently that's what's happening in Mr. Nye's science class. Okay, now I look at this and I can tell what is the most common length. The most common length in Mr. Nye's class is 3 inches. The least common length is 2. So that must be one small crayfish. Excuse me. Okay, so let's read the problem and let's see what we're going to do with this graph, this line plot. Mrs. Curie's class also measures the length of their crayfish. Oh, 2 classes of kids doing this. How fun. They notice, pardon my pen, they notice the number of crayfish that are less than 3 inches long is half of the number in Mr. Nye's class. How many crayfish are less than 3 inches long in Mrs. Curie's class? Well, how many are less than 3 inches? Can I count this? I can't count that. I can only count the things that are on this part of the number line. Okay, so let's first find out how many there are in Mr. Nye's class. So this is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So Mr. Nye's class has 10 crayfish less than 3 inches long, but Mrs. Curie's class has half the number. So half the number would be 10 divided by 2, which would be what? 5. So in Mrs. Curie's class, there are 5 crayfish that are less than 3 inches long. So let's write that down. In Mrs. Curie's class, there are 5 crayfish that are less than 3 inches long. Very good. Okay. Well, that is the end of our video today. And it's also the end of the Module 6 teaching series. So, this tells us that we are just about ready for assessment. Enjoy your story problems. Good luck, and I'll see you tomorrow.